Hello, Dr. Abhishek.
Hi, Anisha. Hi, Trupti.
Hi.
Now I can see you.
Yes.
So the lesson learned is not to kick the host out because technology is no one's friend, I believe. All right, cool. So let's get started, guys. I hope everyone is on the call. And again, before we get started, so I'm not going to take any of your time. So Anisha recently got placed, and we do this thing at least every other Wednesday, Thursday. We really want to do this. So Anisha, go forward. Tell everyone on the call your story. When did you join? What's your education? What happened during the interviews? All the good stuff that you can take, and then I'll ask you some questions.
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone. My name is Anisha, and I'm actually a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for a long time. And I wanted to do something other than bedside nursing. So one of my friends referred me to this crash course, let's say. So I started in, I think, June, and it took 3 months. And right after October, started applying for the jobs. It took me at least 2 months to start getting responses from recruiters, and sometimes they were direct recruiters from the company. Sometimes, they were indirect ones, but slowly I started getting few calls, and I learned that when the recruiters call, you have to be ready to give them answers, like just get few answers ready. For example, most of them ask me, tell me about yourself, and know your resume. Just make sure you read in and out, you know what you wrote in your resume. They'll ask you that, even the recruiters. So I learned that. And finally I got an interview in December for a job, which I thankfully got in after several rounds of panel interviews, and I started the job at the end of Jan. So that's the story.
So here are some of the things that I wanted you to focus on. So for the benefit of everyone on the call, Anisha, you are a nurse, and you were actually a practicing nurse. You were in the hospital setup, right? So why did you choose pharmacovigilance? You should have chosen well-known career paths like clinical research, or probably there are n number of paths that you might have taken even in the hospital setup. So why pharmacovigilance?
Because one of my friends was already he was already doing pharmacovigilance, and she liked it, and we talked about it, and I wanted to give it a shot. As I said, I wanted to work from home. I have small kid, and that was one of the main reasons.
Who was your friend?
Alicia and Susmita. So Alicia was the one who already got the job. She was already in pharmaceutical company way before actually got enrolled in MediPharma, but because we wanted to work from home, that was the main reason it drove me to try pharmacovigilance, remote job, and I didn't want to give up my nursing education and my medical background. So it worked out for me, thankfully.
So during the interview process, this is my question I had for you, and then I'll just open up the floor for everyone to ask questions. All yours, guys. So during the interview process, how before going into interviews, how many interviews did you have in total?
Wow, I had I think 4 panel interviews, and
how many companies interviews?
Oh, how many company? Only 2, and the second one I got the job, thankfully.
The first one you were rejected?
Yeah, first one I got rejected, but the second one, and I learned a lot from the first interview. So try to get the first interview, guys, because it really teaches you a lot of things, and things that you'll do wrong, and you learn from it. So it really taught me a lot. So thankfully in the second one, I got better prepared. I knew what I was weak, my weaknesses basically in terms of the theory that we have to learn here in pharmacovigilance. So that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. All right. So your 2 interviews. The first one did not span out as expected. The second one, you had probably three rounds of 3 or 4 rounds of interviews, and then you
Yeah.
got. And
Yes.
is this role completely remote as you expected?
Yes, it is. Thankfully, it is completely remote, and and you might not get one, but yeah, the one that I got is completely remote. It has a 100% remote job.
All right, guys. Any questions for Anisha?
Hi, Anisha. Congratulations on your job. I have a question. Like, do you have any visa requirements to get this job, or you are like you don't need any visa?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that honestly, because they just asked me to give my social and
Let me answer that.
yeah, he might be better, candidate to answer.
I believe she's also already a US citizen, so
Yeah,
visa.
right.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, I'm sorry I cannot answer, but I mean, I'm pretty sure there are companies, who would.
Yeah, actually, I came to know like some of the companies they prefer like if you are in visa, that's like a different story. That's like,
Yeah.
but if you have like do not require visa, that's an added benefit.
But like when I was in the process, they never question about anything. So I think they would have taken people who had certain requirements as well, because sometimes they say upfront, right?
Yeah.
This company did not. So sometimes I guess there will be chances that they won't ask you, or like support these type of visas
Visas.
have, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Any other questions? Anything?
Hi, Anisha.
Yes.
First of all, congratulations.
Yeah.
So, what were the mistakes or what were the rectifications you learned from the first interview?
Thank you. That's a very good question. So I will never forget. I just blanked out on causality question. So the manager asked me, so what is causality? Like how, like she just, like when Dr. Abhishek and other teachers teaches you and says, okay, this is gonna be interview question. So write that down in a red pen and highlight it, because that will be interview questions. And I had it on my notes.
Everyone is a nurse to have a red pen and highlight it. That's the thing.
Yeah. And so I did write that as an interview question, and I blanked out, because I got, obviously it was my first interview and I got really super nervous, and it's okay, but and I was like, I'm never gonna forget what causality is after that interview. So that was one. And what else was the other mistakes I made? I was not better prepared on my first interview. I would say that, because obviously it was my first. They were.
How do you prep for an interview?
I went over the notes like a lot, especially after the first interview. I went over the notes like God knows how many times, over and over and over again, especially the ones which were told to us that it will be interview questions or very important questions. And I focused on few core modules, especially the one on case process, the one in the beginning about the workflow chart and triaging and all that. So those are very important ones. Those are like the core, because literally everyone asks me about like what you do in a job, and they'll ask you what's the process like from triaging, and goes to you guys know the drill, right? So make sure you know all of that, because that's how I prepared the interview questions. And apart from that, behavioral question wise, I just googled it. And made notes as to how I'm going to answer, like my weaknesses and strengths. It will be difficult, I mean, you have to think about situations sometimes you'll have to make it up, but just Google, YouTube is, very resourceful. So I YouTubed it, and that's how I prepared for the interview questions. And really go through your notes, especially the ones that, are told are important. Go through them at least 10-20 times, I would say, because they are important.
So here's what I just wanted to add to what she said. So here are the 3 things that you need to do for any interview prep. Number 1 is to make sure you identify yourself with the resume. So whatever resume that you are going to be given, or we are going to prepare you, just identify yourself with the resume. That is a part of you. So you have to make sure you know every subject related thing from a practical standpoint. So that's one way of making sure that you know your resume in and out from a subject standpoint. The second way of preparing, for the second thing that you need to prepare for any PV interviews, is know the company that you're going to be interviewing for. How is the, just to go to, let's say if you got a job at, interview at Novartis, just go to Novartis, see their pipeline, look at their phase 1 products, phase 2 products, phase 3 products, what therapeutic areas are they working on, are they going to, based on the job description, are they going to go on post-marketed drugs or clinical trial products? So just to do your due diligence in the company that you're going to be working for. And the last thing, and the most important, most people forget, is if the resume is good, your companies that you are going to go for, they do that. But the missing part is consolidating what you know from the core modules. And I believe one of the students prepared it very nicely for us, and I really don't want that to be given out, because I want every student to do this. For all the core modules that you have, prepare probably a 90-second answer. If someone asks you, can you explain me the workflow? Can you talk about triage? Can you explain how you do, causality assessment? Can you talk about expectedness? Or what are some of the reporting criteria for FDA? So if they ask you those questions, they're basically, hitting on the module itself, and you cannot go 45 minutes teaching them the module. So you have to write on a flashcard what is your concise answer with the right choice of words. That is something that you have to prepare by going through the lecture or by going through the review notes, so that it becomes your signature or your personality into it. So those are the three things that you have to do, and we'll go over all these things once you're done with this course and everything. We'll have a marketing call, and I believe by the end of March, you'll have videos on that as well for interview prep. There are like 3-4 videos that what Anisha is talking. Instead of having more classes and doing it again and again, we'll just give you the recordings, and you can just watch through the recordings and kind of improvise on that, so that becomes easier.
Yeah.
So any other questions, guys?
Congratulations, Anisha.
Thank you.
What was the 4-panel interview like? Who were the one taking those interview, and what were the questions asked by them?
The panel interview, there were a few rounds. Sometimes you have only one, sometimes you have more than one. The one that I had, so it started with my manager, and then director, and then a lot of other co-workers who are, on higher positions, and also associates who I will be working with. So it ranged from director to, to other fellow workers. The questions, did you ask me about the questions too? Like what questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So most of them, as I said, they asked very basic questions, like about case processings and the seriousness of the case. And all of them, like literally 90% of them asked me, what is your day like in office? So how does it go? So everyone asked me that, so just get prepared. So how are you going to answer that? So literally everyone asked me, I think, tell me about your day. How does your work go? Like things like that. And luckily I did not get a lot of behavioral questions, but doesn't mean that you won't get. So just get prepared for behavioral questions as well. And all of them asked me, tell me about yourself. All of them, 100% of them asked me, tell me about yourself,
So how long was the interview?
Each panel interview lasted half an hour, and there were like few panels. So sometimes they were like almost 3 hours long, because they had to take like 15 to 30 minutes break. But it doesn't mean it will take that, because one of my friends, she only had one panel. It was done in like less than 40 minutes. So it really depends, I think.
Wow, you were there for like 2-3 hours
I
then.
was. My voice was drying up because I had to talk so much. It was
Can I
pretty
ask what
thorough.
is the position you are working on right now?
Sure. So I'm working as a product safety specialist.
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Hi, Anisha. Congratulations. I just want to ask you that did you use your RN experience in your resume as well? Because that's all basically you was doing, right? So when
Yeah, I
someone
did.
asks you, tell about yourself, that's the
Yeah.
main thing you were doing, right? So
Yeah.
did you use that or you just
No,
make up some experience with the pharmacovigilance too?
I did. I absolutely did. I wanted to, and I did put like, some experience out there so that they know that I have, because I have a critical care experience and I wanted to, yeah, so I did.
So, hi, Anisha.
Mhm.
Congratulations. So, I wanted to ask you, did you add like a made-up experience in your CV about drug safety and pharmacovigilance that you had some sort of experience, like 6 months or maybe some months experience that you put in your CV, although you didn't have one, but you did put in your CV that you had one for the people that you're applying for?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
Like, did you put any experience in your CV? When they ask you, do you have any prior experience working in drug safety and pharmacovigilance? Did you tell them that you have experience working in drug safety and pharmacovigilance? Did you
Let,
tell them anything like that?
let me handle that question because this video is going to go on public domain. So I don't want her to get in trouble. Let me put it this way. We
Mhm.
anything to make sure that you do the job properly, get a job properly. Now, is it required to fake your resume all the time when you're not comfortable with it? I would not recommend it. It depends from person to person. So that is the reason why when you guys are done with your course and everything done, you will have a call with one of us in kind of understanding where your mindset is. So I don't want Anisha to give an answer to that question and then you feel like, oh, I need to do this to get a job. That's not how it works. So let us keep it there and then let us have one-on-one, because understand this, you might get the same job as Anisha with the same title, same pay, everything, but you may have done something completely different from what she has done to get a job.
Mhm.
But what you both will be doing in the job is pretty much case processing by the end of the day.
Mhm. That's true.
Okay.
So I
Or
don't have like a copy paste model when you all have your own individualities and personal preferences.
yeah, thank you.
Hey, Aksha, congratulations.
Thank you.
My question is, did you done in your interview the narrative writing or any kind of assessment or like the three assessment?
Yes, I did have to do narratives in the interview. Sometimes they send you assessments
And
and
they give you a like 30 minutes or like
Mhm.
XYZ time and
Yeah.
you have to do, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. 30 minutes they gave it, and thankfully, it was not a hard one. So, but just go through the narrative. There are so many
Yes.
examples, right? that
Yes,
you get
yes,
to go through
absolutely.
all of them. I highly
Yeah, yeah.
recommend it. Yeah.
And
Did they ask?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, you go
it's
ahead.
okay. Did they ask to do like a whole case processor, like in like some example of the source document and route that source document as a like case processing? No,
They
right?
won't let tell you to do any routing or nothing related to Argus. No.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So did they provide you with the training for a few weeks before it started working?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they did.
And okay. And did they ask like any definitions, like tell us the definition for this? Not exactly asking you for the definition, but asking you what is that? So did you tell them the exact
Sometimes, but
definitions?
like you will go through your notes so many times that I guarantee you it will be ingrained in your brain. So yeah, once you
Okay.
prep for the interview, it'll just come out naturally, I think.
And did you have any mock interviews before having your first interview?
No.
No, that was your first interview, and that was the first time that you were giving interview.
No, that
And
was
you
the
had
second trial because I got rejected on the first one. But
okay.
I didn't have any mock ones.
Okay, you didn't have any mock ones. Okay.
Every success story that you guys are listening is a mock interview for everyone. Don't you think so?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
Hi, Anissa. Just one question. Congratulations, first of all. What was the time frame between the first interview and the second interview? Were you ready by yourself, or
Weeks apart, you mean?
yeah? What was the time frame from first interview to second interview?
I think a month,
A month.
I guess. Yeah.
So did you took the break, or
No, I kept on applying and applying, so
Uh-huh.
I finally got an opportunity. But I did not take a break. I just kept on applying whatever I could find.
okay?
Yeah.
it was the holiday season, guys.
Yeah, and it was holiday season, so that didn't
Oh,
help.
got it, got it. All
Yeah.
right.
So
That
were
was
you
the-
applying, like, how did you get this job? Like, did you apply it on your own or?
Yeah.
Did-
So LinkedIn, both
Okay.
interviews I got via LinkedIn. So make sure you're gonna, and I'm pretty sure MedPharma will teach you how to, I mean, just suggest you to, open a LinkedIn account and all that sort. So do that. After I was done with the course, I opened a LinkedIn account, and according to the resume, I just put everything that I had, and that's how I started the whole journey.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right now.
How many
Anissa,
applications? How many applications you apply? Like how many
I think
companies?
I applied about 30.
Okay.
Yeah. I know a friend
And-
who did like 80 or something. So it all depends, I guess it's just.
So you applied specifically for the remote jobs because since you wanted a remote one, or you were just applying and just wanting to have a remote
I
job.
applied
Like,
everywhere. That's what
Okay.
I was told to do. And I did that. I applied for remote, like whatever I could find. And yeah, fortunately I got the remote option. But yeah, I applied for, I know sometimes, as you will be told that just apply and just try to get an interview so that you have that experience. So because of
Mhm.
that, just to get the experience, because the first job, it was not remote. I had to go in that state, but I did it
Okay.
anyways, and I learned so much from it. So yeah,
so Anissa, what were the positions you applied to? I mean, like, I didn't know we could apply to product safety specialist, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I thought it was like PV associate and like that. So how did you determine, or you just have to go through the job description and apply, or we just keep on
Yeah.
applying to every positions
So
available?
sometimes you use the words. I use safety, pharmacovigilance, and all that kind of trigger words when you look for jobs in LinkedIn, and
Okay.
it sometimes give you suggestions. That's how I got it. So the first one was I think PV specialist. That was the position. And
Okay.
like after you are in LinkedIn, you'll start getting suggestions like according to what you've been looking for. And I think that's how I actually got the job that I have, because I was suggested like, what about product safety
Oh.
specialist, because I was looking for, because the words that I was putting in was pharmacovigilance, safety and PV, like whatever you can put that in the box. So
Okay.
they do the work.
That's very good to know. I was like, in my mind, it was just like PV associate like that. So
So
Yeah.
here is the thing. These are all good questions, and what Anisha is saying is great. But again, we don't want to like kind of spoon feed you. But when you guys come to the job placement side of the whole course, which is the last 2 weeks or so, you will have a lot of documents coming your way. You have one document on job portals to apply. The second document is keywords to search for. Third document is recruiters that you need to reach out for. So we have all this system. We have created all these documents that every one of you will be given. So you can kind of take it. You'll have a process document. You'll have a consulting group document. There's so many documents. It's like almost like like a piecemeal kind of thing, so that you're not bombarded with all this information at one time. So we kind of give it to you, and we'll have all the videos to kind of support all those things. So it will help you to understand this. So don't try to form something right now, very early on, and try to stick to it. And the last thing, again, we are really getting to a point where I need to end the call. So I just wanted to make sure, when you guys are in this calls, don't try to take what the person who got the job is saying at take it at a face value. It's not like concrete that whatever she has done, you have to do the exactly the same thing. Okay, so these are the three things I would say, and Anisha might have heard this thing million times when she did she did the course. These are three common things that you're going to hear from every student who got a job. One, keep applying. Two, focus on the core basic modules so that your questions are much on that. And three, when you get to the interview process, when you kind of get into the job placement, you will be assigned a mentor and you will talk to them one-on-one on the email, and you'll have interview prep with them. So leave space for your mentor to guide you properly rather than being rigid right now, because at that point in time the market might be completely different and your strategy might be not to apply for certain positions and apply for certain positions. So sometimes it is very hard. I keep saying this because when you have, like, you want to get a job and your intention is get a job and our intention is to place you, but if you're rigid, if you're like, not able to be flexible and adapt to what is needed, it doesn't work. So don't try to form ideas right now. Just leave it fluid, get the subject, enjoy the classes, understand the concepts, and come with a frame of mind that you should develop the trust with us as we develop with you. So that's something that I find it very difficult. I believe I might be wrong, and I want to be wrong. The more education you have, the more concrete your brain gets, and it's very hard to kind of maneuver it. So don't try to do that and try to be flexible. So that's all. So before we end the call, if you have any questions, guys, just send it to students at MediPharm Solutions with questions in the subject, and Anisha will answer it for you. So in the interest of time, I just want to ask her the final question. And of course, by now, I believe you know what I'm going to ask.